Many thanks to Fatal Attraction Vanilla servers, Atlas, one original DayZ servers, Clash Vanilla servers, Sgt. Pepper's DayZ Invasion server, Sea of Tools Cloud, Neo Farmers servers, BK Free World servers, and Double Tap for making this video possible. DayZ Devs has just finished a live stream giving us a first look at Experimental 1.26. So in this video I'm going to summarise all the best parts of the stream and go over the huge amount of details that we got for Frostline. First of all, and probably most importantly, there is no release date for 1.26 yet, and 1.26 is a supporting patch of DayZ Frostline. So I can imagine Experimental 1.26 will be on Chernarus and Livonia while testing, and Frostline will be released simultaneously with 1.26 stable. At least that's the plan. What we know for sure though is that Frostline will be available at the same time across PC and consoles, so every platform will get it at the same time. Upon spawning in 1.26 on Chernarus, a fishing jig was found, which is a new fishing hook that says it can catch different types of fish, and the devs said that it's able to catch fish without any bait attached to it. There's a new craftable wooden fishing hook in 1.26. It's kind of like the bone hook, but it won't last as long. Even the description says it won't last very long. Shovels will now give you more worms than knives do, and you no longer need to craft a worm on a hook, so you don't need to combine these together and craft. You can just attach the worm to the hook very quickly. They also showed off the click to yank fishing mechanic. When you get a splash like this and you click the button or you press a button, you would catch a fish. On both attempts that they tried this or demonstrated this, they caught a fish on both of those attempts. I'm not sure if they just increased the odds of catching a fish during each splash, but it looks like if you click at the right moment, you will get a fish. They also mentioned that they will be reworking fishing traps such as new effects, reduced durability loss and faster catch times, and also audio cues that will let you know when you've caught something. The fish that they caught had a chilly temperature, so this is on Chernarus. This is confirmed as a mechanic on Chernarus and probably Livonia too. And when they started to cook it, it became warm almost immediately, and it will warm the player up when it's eaten. But they took it out when it was hot, and it damaged the player when they ate it. So when they ate this fish, when it was too hot, it damaged the health of the player. They later confirmed that you can kill players by feeding them hot food, as it damages health directly, and it was confirmed that Chernarus can have frozen food during winter months, such as a can of beans. They used that as an example. If you didn't know, frozen food would need to be warmed up in a fire, otherwise you cannot eat frozen food at all, and consuming chilly, cold or warm food will impact your temperature. While cooking, you can see the overtime increase in the heat buffer stat down here too, so it works exactly like we expected, gaining the plus icons upwards over time, so it's like a vertical stat bar and it drains down when you're not warm enough, so you can gauge what your heat buffer stat is currently set to. The server time was set to morning, and upon climbing a nearby hill they showed off the morning fog in the lowlands near the coastline here, showing off how fog will stay lower down on the map, mostly in valleys and the coast, whereas on hills you won't see any fog. While up here they also showcase the distance we can see with a new graphical option in the menu, so you can increase how far away you can see. This isn't related to network bubbles though, it's client side only, so you don't gain an advantage over other players because you can't see them sooner, making this merely an option for better visuals if your PC can handle the increased demand. They did say that there's some plans for console detail distance and that they're being discussed at the moment. They won't be in 1.26, but they are being discussed, so that might mean that console detail distance, or this option here to increase how far away you can see stuff, is being considered for console. They then found a fox on Chernarus, so it's likely that we're going to get foxes on Livonia too. They scream on a regular basis when you're nearby, and you can get quite close to them before they run away. You can shoot these and kill them quite easily for food. They will run away from you, they're not going to attack you, and I don't believe they attack anything else, but we're going to see if they do interact with hares, for example, or chickens. Do they attack chickens? We don't know yet, we didn't see that on the stream. The fox model though has been updated. They then come across a hare, and again it's confirmed that the hare will be on Chernarus and Livonia too, most likely Livonia, I'm not 100% sure on that. The hare was too fast to catch, so using melee on this won't work. You'll most likely need to use a projectile weapon to hunt this one easily, but you can get really close to them before they run away too. Upon finally killing a hare, it was looted as warm, which is a really nice touch, but snare traps will stay the same, so snare traps can catch these, but it's going to be a slightly different model, I believe. A hare or a chicken will simply appear in the snare trap like it used to, based on which bait you use. During certain animations, such as drinking from a well, your camera will now be restricted to certain angles based on the animation that you're using. So it looks like the camera will only go as far left or right as the head turns in that particular animation. I believe that's how it works in first and third person while holding the look button. So not while turning your character, only while holding the look button. There are plans to reduce inventory size by a little bit, as the devs believe players have too much space, and this change will enhance the survival experience by forcing players to choose which gear they can take. During every single trailer and in the blog posts, these changes were applied and nobody noticed, so I'm guessing this change is so small that players coming into 1.26 won't even notice the inventory size difference. Sakao will have new soundtracks applied to it, much like Chernobyl and Livonia has some unique soundtracks. How many unique soundtracks we get on Sakao is unknown, but while they were playing on Chernobyl during this stream, it sounded like there were new soundtracks playing in the background. I'm not 100% sure, but it does seem like they're different. A she-meg has been added in several colour variations, which is a type of scarf. This piece of clothing can be attached to either the face slot or the head slot, but not both of them, possibly making it a new best face slot item for warmth, as it had a very high insulation value. This item also cannot be used with the new wolf headdress, which can be skinned off of a dead wolf. It doesn't need to be tanned or crafted, it drops off of them when you skin the wolf, but it sounded as if the developer was avoiding headshotting the animal, because a wolf, when they're headshotted, they don't drop this headdress, or maybe the headdress is ruined in the process. I'm not sure, but the developer was avoiding headshots. A very interesting change in 1.26 is that they want to stop wolves and bears being food delivery services for geared players. So if you have an M4, for example, a pack of wolves coming is pretty much like a food delivery service. So in 1.26, the meat you get from predators, so bears and wolves, will be infected and give you a disease which will come as standard on every single map. So all of the maps, all predators will have infected meat when you try to get meat from them by skinning them. Which disease we're going to get, we don't know, but they did say that it was curable, so if you have no choice and you're really hungry and you need to eat the infected meat and you have the medicine, you can cure yourself later, or maybe there's another way to cure yourself with immunity, for example. Who knows? The only information we got is that predator meat will be infected. We will now be able to temporarily suppress the coughing and sneezing that you get from the common cold with codeine and morphine, making these two items very useful now. The common cold also has a third stage now. It used to be you get the cold and then you get a flu, and that was it, and that was about as deadly as it got. But now in the third stage you can get pneumonia, which I'm guessing is going to be potentially deadly. They said that they've extended the API for fog, wind and general weather settings, so different servers can be, for example, stormy all the time or barely windy and barely raining. It's up to the server owner. They've increased the vertex limit, and firewood will now stack in 1.26. You can no longer force feed a person from behind too. You need to be in front of them in order to force feed them now in 1.26. The loot variety you find on different maps will be increased, so the variety will be different. So on Livonia, for example, you will find more summer clothes, Chernobyl will be more Western Russian items, and Sakao will be more Eastern Russian items and more clothing for surviving winter. So for example, you will have items that are useful on the map that you spawn on. The server browser has seen some changes in 1.26 as well, so you can see here that there's now a map column for the server browser, and the details section on the right hand side here. A server description box for server owners to add additional information is a fantastic step forward, I believe. So on the details tab, you're going to be able to see lots of information about the server, including any details that the server owner wants to put inside this description box. Fantastic change. That was about it for the stream, but they did mention on Twitter that there's going to be a hotfix for 1.25 next week to fix an exploit. Players on PC will be wiped and everything on consoles will be wiped too. This is going to happen sometime next week, so if your character disappears, you will know why. Let the developers know your take on the changes and additions coming in 1.26. You can get more details with the playlist I created of the blog posts here. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.